Okay, we are live.
Hmm?
We are on camera. Ryan,
We're on camera? Oh,
I
cool.
thought you were frozen for a second there.
Yeah, frozen like this.
Yeah. It's not an ice cream bar. Calm down. Hey everybody.
Oh, hey.
I'm gonna start recording the video, and we're gonna dive right into this. So
Let's do it. We got so much to talk about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
do.
This is gonna be a long one, I think, and I think it's gonna take like a half hour before we even get into today's movie.
I think you're right.
Yeah, a minute for every year that the movie's been out.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Gross.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan,
I'm Brian. And I'm Devin.
and today we're starting off the holiday season with Devin's pick, the aforementioned 30-year anniversary of The Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know what I just said. We're talking about The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah.
How did we get here? 30 years.
Uh,
The time passed. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Which, speaking of, we're going to talk about things that we watched in pop culture before we get into Nightmare Before Christmas in a segment we call We Watch This. And we're going to start off today's conversation with the first Doctor Who special that aired yesterday. We're recording this on Sunday. We're going to talk about the Star Beast. No spoilers. We're just give our thoughts on it.
Good call.
Because I'm curious about something. Because I remember saying distinctly on the podcast before when we did our Doctor Who special, Ryan, don't watch the new special until you watch Tennant's Run.
Yeah,
but Ryan watched the new special. So I'm curious, Ryan, what did you think of it? Because you're still in Capaldi's run, right?
No, I have the last two episodes I watched, which was last night. I am now on to the Doctor After.
Okay,
so
you're on the Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, I mean, since going into it blind, not knowing really anything about their relationship besides the one episode you had me watch, or the two episodes that I watched of those two, or one, the one episode I watched of those two, I was just kind of like going, okay, they mentioned something I have no idea about. I'm just going to take the very basic summary they gave me and just run with it. So that's pretty much what I was doing. So, like, it was fine. It definitely sounded like something that I've come to expect from Doctor Who now. So I just kind of just was like accepting of everything they said that happened in the past and just kind of just ran with it. The person who is behind writing the new show, is it the same person who is behind writing for Jodie Whittaker?
No.
Yeah, this is Russell T. Davies coming back. Okay. It was good to a point. I liked a lot about it. I have a lot of questions. Mainly on, like, God, this is going to sound horrible, but it's the truth. No? And I don't know how else to say it. This episode of Doctor Who is what I was afraid every episode of Doctor Who was going to be like. In what way?
Okay.
Cornball ridiculousness. And not every episode is. No, that's fair. Yeah.
So this
episode does lean a little silly. Yeah.
It does. Devin, do you know why it leans a little silly? Because I learned this tidbit today from my wife.
No, I don't.
This is not an original Doctor Who story. This was a comic in the 80s for the Fourth Doctor that they've adapted to make for the 14th.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't know that.
So the Meep storyline has been done before. So they adapted that comic book into a story and made it the special. And they made it contemporary and added things. And they put Donna and Tennant's Doctor in there. So
it's very fun.
Yeah. So it's a story like that baseline comes from the old classic Who framework. Even in the comic books, Doctor Who can be a little silly. What I've heard about these specials is there's one silly one on Earth. There's one space episode, and then there's one that's just insane, which is the final one with Tennant. I think it's called The Giggle. And I think that's going to be the one with Neil Patrick Harris. So
I'd have thought that was the silly one.
with the Giggle?
The Giggle.
I mean, it's going to be the I think the word they used was bonkers. So
I'm
Devin,
so excited.
I'm curious, what did you think of the Star Beast?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I mean, listen, this did remind me of Classic Who in terms of who the alien races was like one thing, like especially Classic Who does this thing where like sometimes even kind of modern Who does this thing where sometimes like the aliens are just like, you're a dude in a costume. You're not even trying. I see that. One of my favorite ones was there was a run in the Capaldi one. We've all seen this now. I could talk about it, where they like built early Cybermen, and it's just like everyone in hoods with the mouth cut out,
Yeah.
like with like a cardboard box on their chest, and they're like, they're Cybermen. I'm like, no, you're not. You're a dude in a mask. Like, and it's kind of the same with this, and I didn't hate it. For me, there were a couple of very poignant moments that made me go, ah, shoot. That's why I love this Doctor. That's why I'm happy Donna's here. There's particularly a part towards the end that I absolutely loved. That I can't spoil, but I thought it was great. And I love that the message behind it, or the allegory that it was going for. I love when Who is progressive and tells a very progressive story in a progressive way. I like that, and I want that more, because there's not enough media doing it like this.
Yeah, and I think there are some things with that aspect of it that you can probably poke some holes in, but I think it was well done. Because I was having a conversation with my wife about the whole thing today, and she brought up some good points about, I don't know, like she missed some things that like some of that commentary. She's like, I didn't hear those characters doing this one thing, and I didn't she just missed lines of dialogue because they were kind of subtle, and
They were.
I caught them, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I enjoyed it. I'm excited for it. I liked how the one thing my wife asked me, she's like, so you're the music guy. What did you think of them using the old themes in this? I was like, oh, I loved it. Like, it was exactly what I wanted them to be. Like, they used the old Tenet theme, like musical theme. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Two things bugged me, and these are my two little critiques. First one, I in the beginning where he was like, once upon a time, Lord. I'm like, stop it. Don't do that. You don't have to say Time Lord. That's my little Devin thing. And then the other thing is, during the end credits, I let it play longer than I usually do. Did you guys hear the end credits at all?
It cut off a little bit early on Disney Plus with the credits.
Maybe it was just my like weird TV in the room, but it sounded like somebody was like going like in the middle of the credits, and it was really off-putting to me, to the point where I'm like, am I hearing this right? So I don't know if it was my TV. I don't know if it was the way like a sound was coming through, or if that's like just something they added to the end credits. It was weird.
Yeah,
I feel like I almost felt like the beginning. Devin, are you talking about when he was just standing there talking to the TV?
like straight at the camera, like
the one thing that I was thinking when I was watching the episode was, thank God I've been binging this for the past like 2 weeks, because if 3 week past me was watching this, this wouldn't have helped the case of me watching Doctor Who.
I think the introduction with him and Donna was a very good, hey, Disney Plus doesn't have all these episodes that you need to have watched to get caught up on this. So we're going to recap it baseline for you.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Oh, you Americans!
I just wish that they might have done that just a tiny bit differently. That's all.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't all have the Hooniverse on iPlayer like you, Devin.
So good. Guys,
so,
it's so good.
I need to ask you, Devin, and I should have asked this during the Doctor Who episode. Living in London, living in the UK now, does it make Doctor Who more real for you?
Yeah, 100%. So one of the fun things, like when we watch Day of the Doctor, right? When he comes like helicoptering in on the TARDIS, so the TARDIS. Like before, I was like, oh yeah, London, like London Street. But now I'm like, I've been there. I know that street. I know that street. Even like when Tenet landed, I was like, I know that street. I've been on that wall before. Like it makes it so much cooler. I just like it a lot.
Devin,
That, and you probably have a better understanding of like whenever they say something like, "But we're in South London. It's going to take 45 minutes to get there," and you're like, "Yeah, no, they're right. It is."
Just like little shitty jokes they'll make. Like at one point, Clara goes, "We're stuck in a jungle in the middle of London, and all we have are Oyster cards." I'm like, I have an Oyster card too. I get it.
Yeah. So I'm excited for the next special.
Yeah, me too.
It sounds like we're gonna have a lot of Doctor Who in the next few months. So because I think it goes straight through Christmas, because we have a Christmas special with the new Doctor. So
Oh, good. Wait, hold on. How did you guys like the interior? The new interior
of the TARDIS.
of the TARDIS? Yeah.
I like the circle things. I don't know what they do, but I like them. I liked it. I like that it was the circle things change colors now. I also think that it's destroyed now because of things. So I don't think it's going to be as pristine and white as it is when we first see it.
Ryan, did you like it?
I did. I feel it's very 70s, 60s, very 70s, 60s design. I felt like I kind of laughed to myself when I saw it, because the first thing I thought was, oh, that's a set from Logan's Run they didn't use.
Yeah.
But no, I liked it. I like the like roller coaster-esque catwalks things that he was running all around. That was very interesting, and it helps. And it definitely, watching Who, like I have been, it helps because I just saw because right after watching that, I watched the first 2 episodes with Whittaker.
Oh yeah.
Being the Doctor, and then seeing her TARDIS, and I'm like, because to me the inside of the TARDISes kind of stayed the same. They just kind of changed what like the walls looked like a little bit, and like the stairs, but other than that, it didn't really change too much between the one and like those other 2. And then I saw his and hers, and it just completely different.
Yeah.
Drastically different. So now I get that part of it. So it's not as like weird or shocking as it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, so they released the 15th Doctor's theme, and we keep getting like shots of him like in costume, and we see the inside of his TARDIS. They're definitely going for a vibe with this new one, and I'm really excited for it because it's a way different direction than how the other 2 have been. Even the logo, like the fact that the logo changed and looks the way that it does, I think it's all the same kind of aesthetic. I'm really excited. We talked way too much about Doctor Who, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because, Devin.
Yeah.
I'm a dude. Ryan's a dude. You're a dude. We're all dudes.
We're all dudes.
And we're going to talk about Good Burger 2. Which dropped last week on Paramount Plus, and I think all 3 of us watched it. Is that right?
We did.
I'm disappointed in myself because they had a booth at New York Comic Con where they had the Good Burger Mobile, and they had a Good Burger stand where you could go and play games and get a pin and a hat, like a burger hat like they wear. And I have the hat. Like I went over before the booth opened and got a hat, and I don't know what I did with it. So I have it somewhere, but I was going to have it on for this segment of the show. I just don't have it. Before we dive into Good Burger 2, when's the last time you guys watched Good Burger, like the original?
4 days ago.
Okay. Devin, why does it look like you're doing calculus?
I'm furiously typing Good Burger movie release date. I last saw it on the 15th of February, 1998.
Jeez.
It's been a while.
Okay. So I'm curious, Devin, what did you think going into this almost 25 years later without having seen the other one?
It was fine, man. It was fine. It made me realize that like maybe the original movie, like, you know how like Space Jam 2 came out, and everyone went, "Oh, they ruined it. My childhood's ruined." But if you go back, like Space Jam itself isn't a great movie. It's a fun movie. It's a nostalgic movie. It's not a good movie.
Yeah.
I watched Good Burger 2. I'm like, maybe Good Burger 1 isn't a good movie. Like maybe this is another one of those where like if I watch it again as an adult, it's not gonna hold up because this wasn't. It was fine. This was fine. Structurally, it was a movie. It had jokes. There were actors I knew in it. There were cameos from people I vaguely remember as an 8-year-old. But it was fine. I didn't have a lot of fun with it, but it certainly exists.
Yeah, good. I watched Good Burger 1 last week, and the humor holds up on it. Like there are some funny jokes, and Ed as a character is the same. Like he's still funny in spots. Like it's not a great movie. It's good, but it's not great. But it's the nostalgia for me. Like it's like I've always wanted to know what Ed's sauce tastes like on a burger.
Yeah.
And then like with Good Burger 2, they had the Good Burger meal at Arby's of all places. But yeah, I thought Good Burger 2 was fun. It's like I said, it's not good. It's not ultra good or anything. It's fun. There are some funny jokes in there. I think getting the band back together and following pretty much just like Keenan still doing like his scheming and not being a great friend, but there were some fun cameos. I enjoyed it. Ryan, what did you think?
I hated it.
You hated it. Okay, I'm not at that level.
So I loved when Ed was walking his friend around, reintroducing him to the staff at Good Burger. I really liked it when Ed was showing him his house and like his family because honestly some of those were his kids. Like a few of those kids were actually that actor's kids, and I thought that whole thing was cool. I thought Ed 2 was funny, and when they were working together at the end. But other than that, like I can't stand the fact that they just recycled the same like. I love the first Good Burger movie, and I love the very, very shallow lessons that are in that movie when it comes to like the scheming and like him learning about like, hey, maybe you shouldn't screw over your friends, people that are actually like nice to you. And there was no character growth from that incident
like learn
to the next movie. So that was just a recycled plot. So there was nothing new there. I was disappointed with the whole, like, I'm getting revenge for my brother. I was disappointed with that because, again, they're just recycling the same plot from before. I mean, very, 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 very easily, they could have just had that Ed has still been working there. And they could have still had him have a family. He could have been, like the, like manager in name and they still could have had the like 18-year-old being the manager, and they still could have had that joke. But they could have had the actual owners different people sell it out of under them. And then they have to go and do what they did, but to a different corporation that had nothing to do with Kurt. There was a lot that I was disappointed in, it being a lot of recycled plot points that you could just tell that they were in the room going, okay, we need this. What can we just take from the first movie?
Yeah. Okay.
And that's where I'm really disappointed on. Is the original Good Burger movie a really good movie? No. But it's good. It's decent. I'm really disappointed in that.
The rehashing plot lines from the first movie is exactly what I expected this to be, honestly. And I thought they did an okay job at. Like I think my expectations were a little bit lower than yours, Ryan. So I think that's why I'm like, it's fine.
I go into these movies with no expectations, and this is how upset I am.
So hold on, Ryan. Who is this movie for? Like, because I have a theory about who Good Burger 2 is for.
as far as I'm concerned, and from what I know, there hasn't been any new Keenan and Kel skits. There hasn't been any new Good Burger skits on is online. This movie is for the dad or mom who loved this as a kid to sit down and say, "Hey, they're making this new movie. I love this as a kid. Here's a newer one that might be geared towards you, you know, like a younger audience or whatever." And if that's the case, that's fine. But it's just it's disappointing when you have a movie that comes out almost close to 30 years later, and it's just a rehash of the original.
Well, there have been new Keenan and Kel and Good Burger things on SNL in like the last 5 or so years. Like I know last year they did a Keenan and Kel sketch with Keke Palmer hosting, and I know they did a Good Burger thing on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So I think somebody at Paramount's like, "Hey, those got a lot of views online. There's an audience for this. Can we throw a bunch of money at Kenan Thompson and get him to bring some of his SNL friends over for a movie?" And I think the movie is for Keenan's bank account and for Kel Mitchell to not have to do as many cons next year. Like, I think they just had a bunch of money and they needed something for Paramount Plus. So
then
That's
I'm
fair.
really disappointed.
I think it's for the very busy parent that like needs to sit their kid down in front of something. They're sick of watching Frozen for the 80th time. They go, "This is something I know. I'm gonna pop this on for my kid, and I'll peek in every once in a while." And when they peek in, they go, "Ah, orange soda." And like,
That's
I
not
think
even
that's exact. Yeah.
that's not even a Good Burger joke. That's from
No, it's
Kenan
a
and
Kenan
Kel.
joke.
Yeah.
No.
I was like,
Like,
he said that. I looked at my wife. I was like, that was low hanging fruit. Like I expected a little bit more than that. I will say my favorite joke, and it's already ruined me for going to diners or anything.
Oh no.
Beyond just my experience with the diner this weekend, that you guys know about, and I'm not talking about on the show, is when he's at when they're at the restaurant and the waiter asks him super salad. He's like, "Super salad? What's that?" I'm like, I
Right.
was asked soup or salad yesterday, and my wife's like, all I could think of was Good Burger too. So now every time I'm asked soup or salad, I'm gonna be like one of these times I'm just gonna turn to the guy and be like, "Super salad? What's that?" Like.
Oh, I hope I'm with you when you do that.
I
want to see what they do.
Next time you're in town, more incentive for
All
you
right.
to come over to the States. We will go out to a place that has soup and salad.
Just raising the stakes, man.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen. Good.
Yeah. And then finally we have, Ryan, you watched on Apple TV Plus, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Without getting into spoilers, sell me on this show
Okay,
because
so
I'm interested.
this show connects the dots of Monarch's early years. Pretty much. Okay, so all of the older I'm forgetting his name, and I feel bad about that. The guy from Roseanne, one of
John
Devin's
Goodman.
favorite people,
John Goodman.
This show gives you his backstory, along with everyone who was involved in getting Monarch set up and developed. So a lot of the old Monarch reels that you've seen in the actual movies where they show like Godzilla in like the 50s and all this different stuff, they show you all of the setup and everything for those, like where those reels came from and all of the data, and how Monarch got off the ground, how they got their funding. And it shows why Jeff Goldblum's character is who he is when he pulls up in the taxi cab in Godzilla, the one that came out in like 2014, 2015.
Incredible.
So like he gets out of the cab and he makes the joke of like, "I'll tell you now, there'll never be a more screwed up time in DC," and everyone laughs at that because it's 2015 and everything that's going on. But it shows you where and how he gets to be that person. But it jumps back and forth between that and a lot of these characters' children learning about their parents in 2016, 2017. So
Okay.
it goes back and forth. I mean, honestly, it's good.
Okay.
And this is definitely like a good human backstory to the monster fighting.
Okay. I know the thing that hooked me on it. Like I like the Godzilla movies that have come out in the last few years. What convinced me to watch it is the Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell playing the same character in different different time periods.
Oh, it's
This
fun.
is, I can't. So my wife and I are watching it together,
Yeah.
and there are times where like she has to like hit pause, and we talk about how similar they sound, how similar they look,
Oh
and
wow.
I have to, and I have to say this. It's not spoilery, I promise. But there is a scene where they do a fade effect from Kurt Russell to Oliver, and they fade from Kurt Russell's face fades out, and Oliver's face fades in. Kristen has always told me, like, they look so much alike, and I'll see them like, oh yeah, sure, they're father and son. I can see the similarities, and then that scene happens, and I paused it, and I'm like, okay, I didn't see it until now. They share the same face. They share the same.
Like they're related or something.
Well, I mean, no, like Devin, it's more than that. Like it's one of those things where like it's every daughter's worst nightmare to be told that she looks like her father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that level of similarity between between the two of them. Like you age Kurt Russell down, and
It's
they're
him.
just gonna look the same. Like
I looked it up. You're not wrong.
yeah, like they practically share the same face, but it's great. The next episode comes out December 1st. There's only 3 episodes available right now.
Okay.
But every episode, if I remember correctly, every episode you get a monster. So it's not like
Oh,
you're
fun.
dealing with, like human drama throughout the whole episode. Like there is like a monster of the episode pretty much. So it's really cool.
Monster of the week. Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Monster of the week. Like, Smallville and was it Mutant of
Buffy.
the Week?
Yeah.
Or Buffy?
Freak of the week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freak of the Week.
Yeah. So the other night I almost watched this, but Devin, you'll be proud of me. Or we don't have to go into the details on this. I was torn between this and The Curse, and I binged The Curse. And
Thumbs up,
I
thumbs
don't
down, thumbs medium. Tell me.
leaning up. Like I still don't know where the show's going,
Yeah, me neither.
but I'm here for it. Like it's
Yep, I am too. Yep.
it's like watching a car wreck. Like you don't want to look, but you can't look away. Like
all the time. We talk about was it the Plum Tomato Boys or whatever? Ugh. No
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. So then finally, I'm gonna check out Monarch. One of the reasons I didn't watch it is, like, you guys know my basement setup. I have a old tube TV hooked up to my PS4 for like streaming some stuff. It's like, what's gonna look better on my old TV? Like, not the right aspect ratio. I was like, I'm not gonna do Monarch on that. I'll do that on the in the HD. The Curse, I'm fine with it looking a little off.
Speaking of Godzilla, we watch this for next week. I'm just going to tell you what it is now.
Uh-huh.
But,
Godzilla -1.
I'm going to try my hardest to see that on Saturday.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm going to be there for it because
Good.
the trailer for it is just it's the same company, it's the same era as the first one. I believe it's the same company. I cannot wait to see this movie. Like I cannot wait to. I mean, I've got to.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
He's in my heart.
That's not heartburn. That's the atomic breath.
Exactly.
All right. Finally, Devin, you went to the cinemas and saw
Did?
The Hunger Games: A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
I did.
How was it?
How do you guys hold on? Before this, how do you both feel about the Hunger Games? Like right now, how do you feel about them?
It's another dystopian book series that I really don't care about.
All right.
I like
You're
Jennifer
like the-
Lawrence,
You're
but
like the perfect people
I
for this.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. You're like the perfect people for this movie. I think this movie is kind of made for people that are like, I have fond memories of the Hunger Games. I don't think I could ever go rewatch them. But you know what? I'll give this new one a shot. I really liked this movie. It's not paced the way I think it's going to be paced, so it definitely surprised me. It follows young Snow, the president of the big evil president in the books, or in the last series. He was the one in charge. He was the one that was played by the famous guy that
Donald
I can't remember
Sutherland,
his
yeah.
Donald
Okay.
Sutherland. It was young Donald Sutherland, and it follows a young him, and largely it stays away from a lot of really prequel tropes, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting, and you know what? I've never said this before. I could have used 2 movies of this. I would have cut it about halfway and would have done part 1 and part 2 instead of this thing that we got.
My thing with the Hunger Games is I saw the first 2 movies and I never saw the last 2. I've never read the books, and I have I don't even know this character for me to be have any interest in this movie at all.
Yeah. I'm right there.
You know what? I think that's fine. Like, I think that you don't need to be a huge Hunger Games nerd to appreciate what it's doing. I think that you could probably go into it now and just be like, yeah, it's a fun movie.
Now I saw a comparison online to this story and the other big prequel, which is Star Wars. Is it not just the same story arc as Anakin Skywalker?
No, it's definitely not.
Okay.
No, which is good.
But
thing-
not even if
yeah.
you boil it down to I can assume where this movie goes. It's not
Yeah.
even guy falls in love, guy loses girl, guy goes evil.
No, he's evil the whole time.
Is
He's
he? Okay.
never really a good guy. Almost at any point. You're never oh, what a sweetheart. He's just kind of a shit almost the whole time, and I think that's all right. The only thing I'll tell you that bugged me about the movie, and I'm going to spoil a half second about this, and I'm going to ruin any love you have for the Hunger Games. They do one shitty prequel thing that kills me. You know how in Solo they go, "What's your name?" He goes, "Han." And they go, "What's your last name?" He goes, "I don't know." And they go, "Solo." And that's how he gets the last name. They do
Mhm.
that once in this movie, and I hate it. At one point, somebody gives the main character a root vegetable, and she goes, the main guy goes, "What is that?" And she goes, "That's a swamp potato, but I like to call it by a different name, a Katniss," which is the name of Jennifer Lawrence's character in the first movie. So now Jennifer Lawrence's character in the first movie is just forever Swamp Potato. That didn't add anything to Hunger Games. It didn't add anything to her character. Now it's just starring Swamp Potato. Thank you, Hunger Games. Never do that again.
No, I'm watching this movie now just for that. That is amazing, and I love it.
So dumb.
That might I think you just sold us both on that movie now.
Yeah. Devin, that's how much neither of us cared about it. Is it the thing that you most hated is the one thing that we're like, that's actually kind of funny. Yes, I want to see this movie.
Good. Good. I'm glad.
All right, I think that does it for We Watch This, because I don't think there's anything else we pulled. Yes. Oh wait, there we go. So yeah, let's talk about this kick off the holiday season, like we did here in the States with Thanksgiving and Black Friday this past weekend, and talk about The Nightmare Before Christmas, because I think this is the perfect time to talk about this, because we were smack dab right in between Halloween and Christmas. So this was Devin's pick. Devin, take it away and tell us about Nightmare Before Christmas.
Awesome. So Nightmare Before Christmas was a 1993 movie directed by Henry Selick, but most notably written and oozing with Tim Burton all over the place. This movie is a stone cold classic. I watch it just about every year if I can think to do it between Christmas and Halloween or Halloween and Christmas. And it's usually enough of a gap that I'm like, I should watch this, and it makes its way on. I love this movie. I'm not usually a fan of stop motion animation, and I think this is one of my very few exceptions. that I'll just like watch this all day, every day, despite what it is. I don't know a lot about the movie in terms of like backstory or production or all of that, and I'm happy to look all of that up. But I just love this movie. And Alan, when you told me that you had never actually seen it or hadn't seen it all the way through, I was appalled, and we obviously had to watch this. So, go ahead.
So the doing research and stuff on the movie and its production is called pre-show work. Are you just going to do it here live?
We're doing it live, man. We're doing pre-show work during the show. It's called show work now. But before we get to any of that work, Alan, what the heck, man?
What the heck? Why haven't I seen this?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't allowed to shop at Hot Topic as a kid, and I was never really got.
He's blaming this on not being able to buy a Jack Skellington shirt.
Yeah.
He's blaming.
No, I remember watching like at least parts of this in like high school. My sister was like homesick and watching. I was like, oh, I'll check this out. Like, I like sat down and watched a bit. It was like this is cool, but I never really got into it. Like, I appreciate the songs. Like, I know this is Halloween and what's this, but I never really was into it. Like, I know it is like a cult classic and it has a huge fan base. So I was like, nah, not for me.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan, what is your relationship to this movie?
I remember when this movie came out. I didn't see it, but I know that everyone was there was a lot of people I knew in elementary school that was really excited for this, and then when the movie came out and no one talked about it, like either parents didn't take like parents didn't take their kids to go see it, and then it wasn't until like middle school when kids started wearing like Jack Skellington shirts or like lanyards that everyone really started to rent it. And I feel like that's when this movie took off, because I know it didn't do well in theaters, but the first time I saw it was probably like mid 90s, like 94, 95, 96, around that time. And I really liked it. I mean, it was dark, it was different. It was the first time I saw something that was like Tim Burton animation and not like Tim Burton Batman. Which there's a difference. Yeah. And I watched it about once a year. Maybe randomly I'll watch it at like a random time during like not during the holiday season. And I always have to remind myself that, because if I'm right, Johnny Depp doesn't do Jack Skellington, right?
Correct.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. So like I always have to remind myself, because I'm always surprised Johnny Depp doesn't play Jack Skellington in this, just because of because of the friendship that those two have, that Tim Burton and he has. But I mean, I enjoy it. I like it. A lot of my friends in high school and college were huge Nightmare Before Christmas fans. So yeah, I mean, this movie's always been in my life one way or another, either entertainment wise or within my social group.
Okay, so then I'll start with you, Ryan. I mean, having watched it again, probably for the first time this year, or maybe second time this year, what did you think? Does it hold up?
I almost didn't rewatch it because I've seen it so much.
Sure, that's fair.
But I did watch it today, and yeah, I mean, to me it holds up. It's still dark, and it still is dark and gringy as it was the first time I saw it, and Oogie Boogie is still my like the one character in this that I don't find fun, that I actually like. I don't like him on the screen.
I want to dig into that in a sec, but Alan, after having seen this movie in its entirety for the first time as a 32-year-old man, what did you think?
Meh. No, I'm kidding.
Meh.
No. So I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. There's a reason that I enjoy it, and I'll get into it later. But no, I think it's a great mix. Like it's the perfect film for like this weekend. Like it's the perfect film for like in between, like the transition from Halloween to Christmas. Like you take down the Halloween decorations, you put up your Christmas lights. This is the perfect film for that time of year. So I think we picked the perfect week to watch it. I think the designs are fantastic. The songs are great. I knew stuff about this movie that my wife didn't, and she's a fan. Like that's her poster behind me. It's not mine. I got it for her. But I enjoyed it. It's fun, and there's a specific reason why it's fun for me. And do you want me to just tell you what that is?
I want to hear all about it. Yeah.
It's a musical with the whole book done by Danny Elfman. Like, and it's a musical that doesn't have, like, every song doesn't have lyrics to it. Like, because it's stop motion. Like, my wife was watching this with me. She turns to me. She's like, I didn't realize how much of the music didn't have lyrics to this, because that's what it is. It's just if you like Danny Elfman's Batman theme, then here's a whole musical with some songs that aren't Prince, being sung by Danny Elfman for the most part. Like he's the singing voice for Jack Skellington, but like it's a Danny Elfman musical. Like you don't get that with like Hans Zimmer or John Williams. Like it's a Danny Elfman musical, and what's not to like about that?
Agreed. And that was one of the things that struck me the most this time watching it, was how much of it's a musical. Because I think every time I remember this movie, I'm like, all right, they do like This Is Halloween, they do What's This, they do like Jack's Lament, and like it's kind of it. But they sing like almost constantly in this. And or there is the music going on almost constantly. And that struck me more than anything this rewatch, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like people talk about, you know, their favorite songs from this, and it's always, you know, like This Is Halloween, or, you know, it's one of the other key ones. And I've got two, and it's two songs that like I never hear people talk about.
Tell me.
Okay, so my favorite song overall is, I don't know the name of it, but it's when the three kids are singing about torturing Santa.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song of it. But then my second favorite song, and it's for its content, and it's for the just position of like the fact that, you know, right away that they just don't understand what Christmas is when Jack Skellington is singing about Christmas to Halloween Town.
Yeah.
And he's trying to explain it, and then everyone in town is like trying to like repeat what he's saying to show that they're excited and understand what he means. And he's like, no, you're wrong. And the whole song is that, but at the end of the song, he still doesn't grasp that they don't understand what it is. And he goes through with anything, and he goes through with everything anyway. And the fact that they turn that into a song is amazing to me. Like, it's fun. And yeah, so those are my two favorite.
In the chat, Devin's wife wants to know what our favorite songs are.
All right, it's a good question. So my favorite song is a mix between either the one that Ryan mentioned, either the Kidnap Sandy Claus, and only for nostalgic purposes, because when they do the Haunted Mansion overlay in Disneyland in California, that's the song that plays the whole time. And like I sing it like all day afterwards on that ride, so it's super nostalgic for me. But I also really love Jack's Lament. Like I brought that one up. Like you can't help but love This Is Halloween. You can't help but love What's This. But I just really like Jack's Lament a lot. That's the one that sticks with me afterwards. That's what I was humming today. That was it.
That's the one where he's walking on the mountain cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Devin, I don't know if you can watch the live feed right now, but I positioned the picture so that you're sitting on the cliff.
I love that. Let me see for a second.
Yeah. For me, it's probably, I think it's This Is Halloween. Like, it's just a great introduction. I think that and What's This? Like, This Is Halloween is such a great introduction to the world that you're seeing with Halloween Town. Not the one from Disney Channel, a completely different one. Like, it's such a great introduction to the world, and then what's this? What I like about that is like you get the juxtaposition of Jack Skellington with all of the fun, cheery Christmas stuff, and just the contrast between the two is just perfect for me.
And he has that moment too in it that I really love that I caught this time where he's like observing a child sleeping in their bed and he goes like this because his natural instinct is I want to scare them, and then he like caresses like switches his hands and like caresses her face. Like he's trying to fight his instincts to scare all of them because that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah. So I pulled up the box office for this. For opening weekend. So the opening weekend for this is a little bit weird because it had a limited release in early August or early October, and then was wide in theaters for a wide release like October 29th. So this is for the October 22nd, that weekend. It came in third place at the box office. Do you want the top 10 or do you want the top 5?
Give me top 5.
All right, top 5 in fifth place is Rudy with $5 million.
Okay.
Number 4 is Cool Runnings with John Candy.
Was that its opening weekend?
No, that was in theaters for 3 weeks now.
That makes sense. Okay,
at this
that makes
point.
me happy.
It was Rudy's opening weekend, so it beat Rudy at the box office.
Okay.
Nightmare Before Christmas in its first weekend, counting the box office, made $6.2 million.
Okay.
Number 2 is Demolition Man in its second weekend.
Nice.
And number 1 at the box office with 7.1 million was the Beverly Hillbillies.
What was going on in the 90s, guys? Why were we like this?
What year was that again? Because I can easily explain that.
1993.
Devin. So the Beverly Hillbillies, we're talking 1993.
Yeah.
You're talking about adults, people our age, that grew up watching the TV show Beverly Hillbillies. And then they get into their 30s and they come out with a movie for them, kind of poking fun, but at the same time kind of like doing something that feels like the show. Of course that's going to
You're going to go out in droves to see that.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
So here's the thing. Like, Nightmare Before Christmas was in third place, but it was only playing in 563 theaters.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So Cool Runnings, which it beat, was playing in 1,828 theaters.
Wow.
Beverly Hillbillies and Demolition Man both had 2,000 theaters, over 2,000 theaters each. So, like, yes, it didn't do number 1 at the box office, but per theater, it made $11,000 to Beverly Hillbillies $3,000 per theater. So,
okay, well, that means something different then.
Yeah, it does mean something different. And then Hocus Pocus is still on this list, but it was only playing at 425 theaters at this point. But since it came out in July, because I think Disney had a choice of which movie do we release at Halloween time, this or Hocus Pocus, like they were only playing in 425 theaters, but at this point they had already made $38 million with Hocus Pocus. So
it's interesting then.
Yeah.
Because it shows that like this, like it's very much a niche, but people do love it. Like,
yeah. And then they put them both back in theaters this time. I'm going to look up the numbers for what they did this year, because
Did
I'm
they put
curious.
it back in theaters this year?
They put both of them back in theaters. So the poster I have behind me is the 30th anniversary re-release poster that they put out with the movie. That's why it
I
says
can see
30.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right by your thumb. Yeah.
Yeah. And they did a new poster for Hocus Pocus as well, which they did not put on Disney Insiders for me to get, but
darn. So one of the things that I looked up that I love about this movie is that there are references in all of Tim Burton's work before this and after this. Like, you kind of see proto Jack Skellington in some things, and you see elements of these things in things that he's done afterwards. Have you guys caught, or do you know where these things come up, like other than just in this movie?
I know that there has been tons of memes, and I'm actually just starting to Google now who the original is. But I think Corpse Bride. There's a lot of fan theories out there that saying that the main character from Corpse Bride eventually turns into Jack Skellington.
Oh, right.
It goes beyond that though. It's also Frankenweenie. He starts off in Frankenweenie.
That's the one I couldn't remember. Yeah. Because remember there's three, because there's a boy and a dog, and then you get a young boy and a live dog, and then you get like a grown-up boy and a dead dog, and then you have a dead old man, or a dead man and a ghost dog.
Yeah.
It all flows.
Yeah.
So
I know that Jack Skellington, there's a head that looks like Jack Skellington in Beetlejuice.
Yep.
Beyond that, I'm really curious what the one in Planet of the Apes is.
I don't know. It's Mark Wahlberg. I don't know. I pulled up this little factoid. I agree with one of them. I think the other is a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
So some of the presents that Jack delivers to the kids are nods to Tim Burton films. They said that the snake looks like the sandworm from Beetlejuice, which totally checks out. And then they said that the cat and duck are both in Batman Returns. They said the cat's the mascot for Shrek's department store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they said that the duck looks like the vehicle driven by the penguin, which might be a stretch. They're both like yellow ducks with a donk, and like I think that's it.
I mean, they made toys of that duck, so
yeah. I don't know. That one I think they're stretching a bit, but I did like the cat from Shrek's department store. I didn't know that.
Bruce Wayne.
The fact that the cat
why?
matches,
Are you just like Batman?
Yeah. The fact that the cat matches, I would say the duck matches simply because there is a duck in Batman 2. So I would just go with it.
You just say it works.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I thought was real fun is that in 2001, they officially started launching the project for a sequel to this. And basically, Tim Burton was like, no, we're not doing this. And for two reasons. One, they wanted to make it computer generated instead of stop motion, because it's cheaper and it's faster than stop motion. But then the other kind is that Tim Burton was like, what are we going to do? Make Jack visit Thanksgiving World? Let's not do this movie. And I just love that idea. And I had this thought yesterday as a question to ask you guys. What world would you have Jack visit if you guys were making that sequel?
Ryan, go ahead.
Okay, so they never show the kids put the Easter Bunny back in Easter World. So the Easter Bunny is still held captive in the treehouse because Oogie Boogie didn't come to mind for them because that was going to be for Santa. So they still have the Easter Bunny in Halloween Land. So all of the like baby chicks and other springtime animals build up an army to invade Halloween Town, and Jack has to get in the middle of it. And like right as the slaughter starts, he gets it to end because he gets the Easter Bunny released, and the Easter Bunny proclaims, "Be like, no, these are friends. Like, it's like it was these kids. They're demented, but it was a mistake." You can bring back Pee Wee Herman to do his role again.
You do it. You do it in a second. Did you not know Pee Wee Herman was in this, Alan?
I know he's in it. He's not going to come back for it, though.
No?
It's a fantasy. No, it's a fantasy idea. That's not going
I'm just
to happen.
making sure.
So yes, he does come back for my role.
Okay.
He does come back for my script now.
Yeah,
okay.
Who knows what happens in Alan's version of Paul Rubin's life now?
I feel like the low hanging fruit is probably Jack Skellington going into St. Patrick's Day world.
That's what I was gonna pick.
And everyone's just drunk. He's like, "What's this? What's this?" Like he just starts like. He has his first, like, it's a Disney movie, so it's never going to happen.
So
But
Jack Skellington runs into Chicago Party Ant.
The other two holidays that I can see is Groundhog's Day. Like he just goes in and it's just the plot of Groundhog's Day, but it's Jack Skellington instead of Bill Murray. And then Independence Day, where it's Jack Skellington instead of Jeff Goldblum. Wasn't there an actual sequel to this that was just a video game?
There was a video game sequel to this, and it was like Oogie's Revenge or something like that.
Yeah.
I never played it, but like the fact that the canon sequel is a video game always makes me giggle.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah. Did you guys notice? I want to know if this is my weird read on the movie, but I definitely came across this time where the plot of it just sounds like Jack's going through midlife crisis, where he's just like, this thing I'm good at, nah. And the plot seems to mostly focus around cultural appropriation and how it's bad. Am I reading too much into that, or did you all catch all that?
I think the cultural appreciation thing is more of a modern take on it. I feel like this more has to do with just misunderstanding the meaning of Christmas from a completely different point of view. Like, this is one of the reasons why I like this movie so much, because I truly believe that a lot of the issues that we have as humans is the fact that we can be saying the same words to each other, but mean completely different things because we attach different meanings to the same words and phrases. And I feel like that's a big part of this movie, of the miscommunication of like what Christmas actually is compared to what Halloween Town produced. And I also feel like it's just boredom for Jack Skellington. I don't think it's a midlife crisis or a mid-death crisis for him. But I truly believe it's just him being bored, doing the same thing, the same routine year after year after year, and it's just something different. And that's what he wants. So if you want to put midlife crisis on it, that's fine, because that's pretty much me saying the same thing you just did, and it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about saying the same thing, just saying the same thing a different way, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
fair. So, Alan, was that your take too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, my phone was going off.
No worries.
So I'm looking at the box office, re-release box office for this, and there's a lot of re-releases for this. It was re-released in November, in '94, from November 30th to December 8th, and made another $8 million. Wow. It's on its original. Let's go back a second. On its original release, it made $50 million. So that's not counting the re-release like a month later. Re-released in 2000, made $376,000. 3D re-release in 2006, $11 million. Re-release in 2008 in 3D, $15 million. Re-release in 2009 in 3D, $2 million. Re-released again in wait, what? Oh, it made $2,000 in like a weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it made another $600,000. Re-released in 2016 in the UK, $200,000. 2020 re-release, $2.3 million. Re-released in 2022. This is my favorite, in the Asian Pacific Australian market. Mm-hmm. I want you to guess how much money it made.
This is the first time you've mentioned the Australian market.
Well, it was open in a lot of markets in those other ones. This is the only one that specifies the one market. So, how much money do you think it made on December 15th, 2022?
Just one day?
That was the date of the release. So I don't know how.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. How much money do you think it made last year?
I'm going to say $200,000.
$22 million.
$136.
It was one theater.
One theater.
Like a family.
Yeah.
One theater.
And then for this year, for the 30th anniversary release, it made 10.3 million.
I just wish I had anything that I could just keep giving a person or giving like the market again and again that reliably prints money like that. That's incredible.
Except for last year.
Yeah, in that one market.
I really think they were holding it off for last year because they knew they had the 30th anniversary coming. So like we're gonna not release it except for that one theater that's going to report to Box Office Mojo for some reason.
It's a perfect post-Halloween movie.
Yeah.
And it's got a ridiculous following. I mean, other than like Star Trek and Star Wars, how many other movies do you see like merchandise being sold year round for the past 20 years for it? Hot Topic, PacSun,
Harry Potter.
Like, it's a short list.
It is a short list. Because I'm struggling. I mean, you see
And
Back to the Future
everything
merch pop
else
up
is
every once
movie
in a while.
series. Not, not just a singular movie.
That's okay. That's an even shorter list then.
Well, I think it also helps that it's. I mean, that's a good point. Like Mean Girls is one like that. You see a lot of merch for that.
Okay.
Clueless.
Okay, but
I
for every like 20 Jack Skellington shirts,
There's
I'm
like one
trying to
Clueless
grasp
shirt.
at straws to see if to try to think of the last time I saw something from one of those movies.
Well, I think this is one of the, take it as you will, as an advantage or disadvantage. I think it's the Disney machine. Like they're going, like they
Yeah.
have the means to produce things and mass produce them and get them into the stores like Hot Topic and the Hot Topic
And the Disney store.
in the Disney store. And
And
But
now you find them at
there's
Walmart and Target.
there's an audience
Kohl's.
for it, and I think
Yeah.
Disney is definitely the main merchandiser for their stuff for a reason. Like they push it year round.
Yeah.
Especially with the Marvel stuff and like and the Disney Princess stuff. Like all those movies, like they're that's the stuff that you see. And I think it's because Disney is so insistent on it being there, but they also, it's never the same shirts. Like if I go to Five Below and I look at the rack of t-shirts, half of them will be Disney, but half of them will be different from the last time I was in there. So they're always rotating it out. So it's, yes, it's always there, but it's always different things.
Like I'm sure you can't find this exact jumper anymore, but you can certainly find a Jack Skellington jumper somewhere.
Yeah.
Sweater.
No.
Jumper.
No.
Jeez.
Sweater.
So I mean, but
Remember
to your point,
heritage, Devin.
In the words of
point,
Mufasa, remember who you are.
it's a sweater. But to your point, Alan, like in a world where I just heard that Toy Story 5 is being cast, I saw that Mean Girls had a commercial sequel, a sequel that's a commercial, like
And a musical version coming out in January.
Yeah, I'm super proud they haven't done that to this. There isn't like a Nightmare Before Christmas, the Disney Plus series. There isn't like Nightmare Before Christmas 2 or prequel or anything, or like I don't even think it made its way onto Broadway at any point. Like I love that. Like
the one show that they do every year is the Hollywood Bowl, where they have Danny Elfman come out with an orchestra. Did you get to see that when you were in LA?
I didn't, but I saw the Little Mermaid one, and I saw not Encanto. I saw the Coco one. So like
Okay.
I know the level of quality that these are, and I lied. I did see this one. I did see this one, and it's incredible because they got the guy that originally played Sebastian to play Oogie Boogie. Yes, I've seen it. It's incredible. It's so
Okay.
good.
How did you forget that?
I don't know, man.
He
This
sees so much. He sees so many of them.
There's
They
so
just
much
blend
passes
together
before
after a
these
while.
eyes. I
It's
can't
like
get
me
over.
when I watch like 4 Doctor Who episodes at the same time. I gotta
Listen-
go back and write down the episodes.
I saw the guy that plays Oh, the sassy guy in Independence Day, Jeff Goldblum's friend, whose voice you do
Harvey
so well.
Fierstein,
He was Ursula in the
Little
Little
Mermaid.
Mermaid one,
Yeah.
and that was top for me. Like, you can't beat that. Like, he's so good.
David, why'd you send my mother to Atlanta?
David, I want your voice. It was so good.
Poor unfortunate soul. Like, at a certain point, my Harvey Fierstein just turns into Patty and Selma from The Simpsons.
It makes perfect sense, though. I mean, the only other like real point of discussion I have for this is Jack the bad guy in this? Like, Oogie Boogie's certainly the villain, but he's not a villain for very long. He kind of shows up maybe halfway through. But is Jack the bad guy?
I wouldn't say he is. I think he sets out with good intentions, but things just go wrong. And I think when he realizes that, he's apologetic for what he's done. Like, he realizes it immediately and does what he can to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say he's the villain.
Okay. Brian, you think so?
I just think it goes back to a misunderstanding. Like, he had nothing but good intentions going into this, and it was completely different than like a villain thinking that they're still doing good even though they're doing something evil. Like, he never meant to do anything evil. It was just he involved the town in it, and they didn't really understand what he meant, and he wasn't following up on what was going into those gifts because he was working on other stuff. This is just one culture not understanding another one and trying to repeat it.
This movie is a good example of proper communication and line management. I'm ready for work tomorrow, guys.
So there's a few things I wanted to touch on that I didn't get a chance to yet.
Yeah.
I ruined this movie for my wife a little bit.
Why?
Because Sally is played by Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, it is.
And as soon as she came on, I was like, the baby, David. And she's like, wait, no. And I was like, Kevin! So she didn't know that it was Catherine O'Hara. The other thing I wanted to mention is, like, the moment I realized this had such a following in like pop culture was in college. Like, my freshman year, one of my friends had his mom come in and help him do a fantastic Jack Halloween costume, like makeup and suit and everything. It was impressive. And I was like, I've never seen that movie, but good for you. But I was like, okay, maybe there's something more to this than I thought. Like, that was like the first instance of people like this movie a lot.
I'm actually jealous I didn't see that Halloween costume. That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of voice actors, I didn't know this until just now, but Craig Proops plays the clown demon in this, and I just absolutely love it when Whose Line cast members show up in things. That's all I have to say. I love Craig Proops. I think he's hilarious.
I don't really have anything else to add to it.
Yeah, man, it's just a good movie. I'm glad Alan finally saw all of it.
Yeah.
Is all I have to say. I mean, you know, I was doing my pre-show research during the show. A lot of stuff I found is exactly what you would think it would be. Like, Tim Burton said the original inspiration for this was when he saw a Halloween display being taken down and a Christmas display being put up, and he thought the juxtaposition was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That totally checks out. Of course that does.
Having been the guy who was responsible for that at one point in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Danny Elfman got really attached to Jack Skellington while he was making it and said that the songs were 10 of the easiest songs he's ever made in his career. Which, look at him. He's an adorable skeleton man. Of course you're attached to him.
And Danny Elfman is jacked. Have you seen him?
No.
He's more ripped than J.K. Simmons, which is saying something.
What?
Yeah.
I have to look that up now. Oh, yeah, he is. Wow.
Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. I got nothing else. So
I think that's all I got, man. I'm glad you watched this movie, and I'm glad I got to watch this movie, selfishly.
yeah. I was looking at 1993 movies to see if there's any that like anything else from the 30th years that we want to see re-released in theaters, and I was looking at the list. I was like, yeah, I don't want to talk about these on the show because there's not many many fun ones that we could make jokes about and have fun with.
I can guess a few.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But Mrs. Doubtfire, like that's a big one. So
It's a good one.
but also Hocus Pocus like had its 30th anniversary, and I still think that's my favorite of the two Disney Halloween themed movies that came out in 1993 and got a 30th anniversary re-release this year.
Oh, you like that better than this one?
I think so. I mean, I grew up with it, so I have the nostalgia for it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But they did not release the poster for Hocus Pocus like they did for Nightmare Before Christmas. So, yeah, that's part of the reason I put the box back there. It's like we're gonna do Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm gonna put that poster up. So,
it's a cool poster.
Maybe I have a poster for my pick next week. Maybe I don't. But to tune in to find out when we talk about a more recent Christmas movie than Nightmare Before Christmas, 2022's Violent Night, starring David Harbour.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you guys seen this yet?
No, I
No,
wanted
I
to
haven't
so
yet.
bad. though.
Okay,
But yeah.
perfect. It's gonna be a fun time. So tune in next week for that. You can watch us live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Leave a comment if you're watching because we really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitch, and listen to You Have to Watch This podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
And a happy new year.